Matt, welcome back to the channel once again. If anyone hasn't seen, we've done lots of previous videos together. We're back at your new purchase. Please, could you introduce it and tell us what it's all about?
Yeah, sure. So this is project number 12. And what's special about this one, it is a one bed semi-detached, which you don't really get a lot of, but you'll see the layout. Really cookie cutter approach, this one. BRRR in South Wales as a buy-to-let.
What attracted you to it?
Well, we'll come to the numbers later on, but the price, first of all, got a great price, which will keep you in suspense. And also the fact that there wasn't too much complication on this. I don't like with other projects I've done, which have been great yield. I had to think quite creatively about what to do here, what to do there, whether it's a HMO, etc. Whereas this one, it's back to basics. I don't have less stress. It's also a lot quicker and just get in, get out, and on to the next one.
Simple, buy, refurbish, refinance.
Yeah.
Classic. Okay, cool. Let's have a look inside. So obviously it's not finished.
We're close. We're close.
So where are we up to with this one? How long have you owned it?
So just over a week.
Yeah.
And we're obviously at rip out stage.
Yeah.
And what seems to have happened is the ripper outers have just gone on the energy drinks a bit and with a sledgehammer and gone to town. So a really good fast start. Property probably in its worst state you'll ever see it right now. It's good though because it gives you the canvas for what you're going to paint with it. Whilst I did say we're not going to do too much, we are going to make a few room alignment changes which we'll cover.
So we've got sitting room there which we'll add B-roll for. This is kind of like a dining room through room, isn't it?
It's your bog standard South Wales living room where it's like a big old long living room.
And then we'll head back to the kitchen at the back of the house, which actually it's like a, well, presumably some form of extension at some point, but it's a nice big room.
Yes, yeah. So the old school mining houses, they would have built it up to there, and typically some wouldn't have a bathroom or a kitchen. Right. And obviously, more recent times, they don't have the kitchen bathroom add-on at the end. So this was one big kitchen. And it is a good sized kitchen, and if I wasn't messing around too much with the layout, I'd keep it like that. Because it's currently a one bed semi-detached, we've got to get a little bit creative. In this corner over here, up to where the door is, this is going to be the kitchen. Still a nice decent size, good sized kitchen. We don't need this extra space. Okay. And then here, the way we get creative, we're going to make this a downstairs bathroom. Sounds like it's got a bit tricky to get everything down. Obviously it needs a stud wall there. And then the hardest part is waste pipes.
Got you.
So what we're going to have to do, this will be one of the biggest expenses, is get a waste pipe dug into the ground here, going along there, out. And that is pretty much the biggest job in this,
Expensive because they're digging down into concrete, basically.
Yes. Digging down into concrete, installing the pipe, and then redoing it. So, but be totally worth it to add that bedroom and gain that extra value.
So you're doing that, you're putting the bathroom down here because at the moment it's upstairs and that could be a bedroom space.
Yes.
And we'll see that in a minute.
Yes.
And in order for someone to access this bathroom, they're going to come through where we've just walked through.
Yes.
And then to access the kitchen.
So you walk in from there, open doorway into there, got all your kitchen units along the side there. You can, where the sort of the remnants of the last kitchen was. And you know, you can see here straight away the ceiling wasn't very good. So we've pulled all this out, all the insulation, re-insulated, reboarded, replastered. You know, next checkup it'll look very different.
Yes. Well, look, can't wait to see it.
Absolutely. And the other benefit is right now that the garden is a complete jungle. There's like it's not really a garden. So all that's going to be cleared out. It's not a huge space, but again, for buy-to-lets, it's really good.
And whilst it feels dark, that'll actually completely change once that's all ripped out.
I hope so. Yeah. Oh, stairs are bloody steep.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, without breathing in too much, tell us about this room.
So you can smell, but this was the bathroom.
Yeah.
So you had the bath here and a big sort of closet, I guess, in the corner there where you store your towels and everything. Quite big for a bathroom in South Wales, even though the room itself is not huge. So this was ideal for a second bedroom. Everything is pretty much going to be taken out, which it almost has. Shower there, toilet will be taken out there. Boiler, we'll probably keep that here just for expense, and it's perfectly fine to have a boiler in the bedroom, as you know.
Yep.
And then, reboarded, re-skimmed, plastered, painted, all that stuff. Not in that order. Nice bedroom one, smaller bedroom one.
This is so clearly, as a BRR, makes so much sense to come in here and add your value here, doesn't it? It means you don't have to extend, it means you're not spending crazy money because this is quite an easy transfer.
Exactly, and not even any stud work changes. So it's the only stud work we're using is actually downstairs. So upstairs, no stud work, just reboarding, plastering, skimming, painting.
Yeah. So that only leaves the main bedroom.
Yes, really good size bedroom, which you'd expect for a one bed semi-detached. We did toy around with potentially making this a 3-bed, but I think, and you sort of agree as well, it's probably too tight. So we rather have a comfortable 2-bed semi-detached rather than a 3-bed, a tight 3-bed semi-detached. Yes, you might get more rent if it is a 3-bed. Also, I've got to think about the long-term goal when I sell this.
Yes.
Is a buyer going to be like, that's too small? Whereas we're just a small family or whatever, a comfortable 2-bed, perfect. Let's go for that.
This is just going to be 2 really good sized rooms, and actually a really nice family household for a young couple, working professionals. Whereas if you were to put the stud wall in, it then becomes like 3 not very small rooms, but 3 small bedrooms, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So, makes sense. So whilst we're here in part of this video, I also want to talk a little bit about, what Matt has done with building his portfolio. Is obviously focused in the early days in doing, buy-to-let, or using the BRRR strategy to build his buy-to-let portfolio. But in recent years, or recent year, should I say, he's been doing social housing. And a lot of people ask questions about that, but this is kind of flipping back and going back to using the traditional, buy, refurbish, refinance model to do a buy-to-let, a single let. I think a lot of people wonder whether they should do social housing or whether they should do standard buy-to-let. And right now, social housing is a buzzword, but not many people talk about perhaps the negatives towards it. Now that you have kind of done these projects, what do you think are some of those negatives?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's obviously important for us as sources to practice what we preach. And I would never knock social housing because it's fantastic, it's passive, you don't have those fears of voids, maintenance, management, and you can sort of think of it passively. But obviously, to focus on the negatives, there is a lot of setup involved, and I think a lot of people really underestimate how much extra you need to think about. It's the tiniest details because it can't be signed off until every little thing. Like, for example, doors need to be able to open 90 degrees and make sure there's not enough gaps underneath the door and the floor, for example. Most of these should be covered anyway, but for a lot of these old school property refurbishments, you're not going to get every single snag, and they'll still be perfectly fine for a buy-to-let. You can rent it out, no problem. You're not going to be flagged up on that. The worst negative is sort of the best positive as a buy-to-let, which is it's just so much more simpler. I think it's time. That's definitely the big one. Obviously, we want to get in and out as quick as possible. With social housing, a standard 3-4 month project could easily drag on to 5, 6, 7 plus, depending on whether it's a HMO or all the snags, because when you're getting it signed off, it varies on each provider, but they're sending multiple teams out: health and safety, operations, and then your general prospective social housing provider. All the checks, it just, before you look at your calendar and it's like, wow, it's 2, 3, like 1 or 2 months just gone. And obviously that's lost rent, you're still paying your utilities. Whereas with a buy-to-let, I know that pretty much the week after the builder hands me the keys, it's going to be on the market. In South Wales, I've never had a property on the market longer for 2 or 3 days. So I can get it rented out straight away and just in, out, onto the next one. And the yields are still really, really good. And that's the good thing. Yeah, of course, with social housing, there's no management and you don't have all those extra fees. But just the time it takes, I think it's worthwhile just really pushing on standard buy-to-let. Sometimes vanilla buy-to-let is the best way to go.
Yeah, and I think that's what I really wanted to focus on, or at least like bring attention to, is that yes, the social housing element is that hands-off, and it definitely is more cash flow. So I'm not taking anything away from that. Whereas, maybe there's a good chance that with some of your social housing ones, you're probably going to make between 600 and 1,000 in terms of profit per month.
Especially the HMOs.
The HMO ones. Whereas perhaps a 2, 3, 4 bedroom buy-to-let is probably going to be more like £300-400 profit per month. Correct?
Yes.
So there is definitely a difference, but you could probably spin and turn around more buy-to-lets quicker. You could probably do 2 in the same time it might take you to do a HMO. And for people that are getting started, often it is better to at least get started with buy-to-let rather than umming and ahhing over it and getting stuck. So Matt, you've acquired a new house.
Yes.
And you've acquired a new sofa.
Yes, one of the joys of investing. If any locals at all smell what there's a refurb going on, they will grace you with their furniture. So definitely an annoying one, because that will take up pretty much half a skip. but it just comes with it. And hopefully once we get cleared out and you don't get any reprobates coming around, then we should be okay.
Yeah, it is one of those annoying things, but is what it is. But to talk about a positive point,
Yes.
talk me through this.
Yeah, so EWI, or external wall insulation, it's quite a rarity that you get on houses that need a full refurb. If I was a guessing man, I would have said that the previous owner would have got a grant or something for this to happen. I'm just making a guess there. Best thing about this though is, of course, it's insulated. Therefore, we've got no damp on the inside, which is a nice change for once, not to deal with any of that. And it's quite easy to maintain. When we get this finished towards the end, we will just repaint it white, so it'll look like a brand new render. And yeah, really happy with that.
Yeah, it makes the house look smart, or it certainly will look really smart when it's painted. And also, I'm freezing standing out here, whereas inside, even though the house is ripped out, the heating is not on.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, this is fine.
It's not too bad.
It's quite nice, yeah.
Yeah, because it's expensive. Like I think for previous projects, I've been quoted between, it varies on the size, but between 7 to 10 grand just to get an EWI. Yeah. So to have this ready-made,
yeah,
amazing.
On a well-priced property.
Yeah.
Talking about well-priced properties.
Yeah.
Let's walk through the numbers. So purchase price?
£65,000.
Which is pretty incredible.
It's very, very hard to find a house in South Wales with that price at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Refurb, what do you think?
We've been quoted at £38,000.
Okay, so a decent chunk, redoing everything as we've seen.
Yes.
And then, so the end value, roughly?
We think based on the comps nearby, we're looking at around 140, maybe even higher. There are some semi-detached properties going for 150 plus. Obviously you have to think about the mortgage cost on that as well. I think 140 would be a great result. Mm-hmm. And then for money left in, that should leave around roughly about 5k left in. Okay. Because you also got to factor in bridging expenses and, you know, other snagging. Things always cost a bit more than you expect, those little things. So yeah, with around 5k left in, I'll be really happy with that result.
And that's even 5k is a pretty, it's an extreme deal. It's a good deal. Like most deals, I would say that under 20k left in or under 15k left in, if you're factoring everything in, is pretty good now if you get a really solid house and investment left at the end of that, right? Overall though, like really good deal. The numbers stack really well and I'm glad we saw it today and I'm excited to come back and see it at the end. So thanks for letting us have a look around, Matt.
Thanks for coming.
As always,